saw last game likes late game. Took his third, didn't put that much pressure, just kind of used the Phoenix and the Void Ray to scout around, deny scouting. I wouldn't be surprised to see some sort of late game play from HerO again instead of an all-in. Maybe he's like, well, late game didn't work for me there. I couldn't deal with the Broodlords quite as effectively. I couldn't kill Sniper. How could I kill him? So maybe he's thinking, okay, well, let's just Immortal all-in. Let's just do it that way. And Sniper, on the other hand, has to be thinking, well, okay, I won the first game. I just have to play my game, have to be focused, and we're going to see those two people fight to the death. Only one of these guys walks away to the next round.
That's right. It is an elimination round here. Losers round 6. The winner of this does make it into the top 8, which is very critical as they'll it's a lot of prize money that starts to get on the line. Absolutely. And add on top of that HerO's one of the 2 remaining Protoss players, but Sniper's the only GSL round of 4 player who's still left in this tournament. Looks like we're ready to go right now, though. The vote has evened up a little bit. HerO 52% to Sniper's 48%.
All right.
So let's get into game number 2.
Welcome to IPL5 Ohana.
All right, on Ohana and down in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, we have our red Protoss player from Team Liquid, down 0-1. He is...
Liquid HerO.
There he is, responding to the call of the Nerd Horn. We'll see if his opponent has what it takes to knock him out 2-0, though. He's our blue Zerg player in the top left-hand corner, GSL Code S finalist. It is...
MVP Sniper.
This game, we see HerO starting off with the scout, changing things up a little bit, making sure there's no shenanigans or anything like that, even putting his pylon at the natural instead of in the main base to start with. This is maybe just feeling really confident, or just maybe not knowing, or knowing that the other build wouldn't be in time, wouldn't be as safe. So on Ohana, playing it safe, playing it standard. We're going to see a Nexus first into a Forge expansion and just a Hatch first here. Do you think both players will play fairly similar to start with, or what do you think?
I imagine so. Well, HerO's obviously already switched things up. He's putting his Forge up at the front, he put his pylon there and things like that, so he wants to make sure he's valuing more holding people out of his base than he is about hiding his +1 timings or anything along those lines. So part of me kind of thinks that we're going to see that Immortal Sentry all-in. Well, as you guys could see there, the vote is starting to swing back towards HerO's favor again and again, up 55% to 45%. You can actually vote on the front page of IGN.com or by downloading our iOS app by searching for IGN Pro League on the iTunes App Store, or, of course, you can head to go.ign.com/IPL app, vote on all the matches, and win prizes if you're the highest point total at the end of the tournament. So
it's a pretty fun thing to do.
Yeah, it's a little more engaging. It keeps you in the matches. You have something on the line at least.
Yeah, we've had things like liquid bet or different things that allow you to bet. So this is like a bigger IGN way of getting you points.
Well, points.
Correctly.
Yes, we want to get you those points, and we want you to get those points and use them for prizes. But here we
well,
have it.
When you get a lot of points, they turn into esports dollars.
So. I have lots of those esports dollars. They don't have a good conversion ratio to real dollars. Let's see, 3 Zerglings up at the front. They took down the shields on one of the pylons. It necessitated a full wall for just a second from HerO, but nothing all that out of the ordinary. Looks like HerO just checked to make sure there was a third base there for Sniper. Yep. And so far, not a big tell from either of these players, as both gas are on the way now for HerO.
Yep, HerO playing just very safe, very standard. Threw down that pylon. Didn't even take any damage, or took 4 damage on his one pylon that won't heal itself, but the rest will. And Sniper, on the other hand, just made 4 lings, which is really good to force that pylon, force him to lose 25 minerals so he can't run into his base.
Okay, well, he's already taking down the destructible rocks. One thing that Sniper actually did really well in the last game, it didn't come into play, but it's one of those things that could have actually made a big difference, was his first 2 Zerglings, when they got repelled at the front wall with the photon cannon, he set them to immediately taking out the destructible rocks outside of the natural on Cloud Kingdom. That's a really cool thing that a lot of Zerg players just don't pay attention to.
Yeah. And in this case, clearing up the rocks will let him transfer drones easier, be safer. And against that sort of Immortal all-in, this way, if he gets force fielded out of the front and reinforcing that way, he can now come from the back once these rocks are down.
All right, well, gas being put down at the 45 supply mark for our Zerg player here. Nothing too out of the ordinary from HerO quite yet. I mean, the question is now we're looking for a couple of key things. +1 weapons did come up before warp gate research, and that is something that is actually kind of important. Stalker sneaking around the side, but it looks like it's picked up on by those Zerglings that were watching the Zelnaga Tower. The third gas is on the way, but at not too weird of a timing, and there's a robotics facility. So are we going to see continued sentry production? What's going to pop out next from Liquid HerO?
Yep, there's that sentry. And here's going to be 2 Stalkers. There's going to be 1 Zealot as well. That are going to try and kill a whole bunch of Zerglings. This is going to be kind of the mini battle. It's going to change how the economies are from both players, where if the Protoss can manage to force out a lot of Zerglings, it's a lot of drones that won't be there to stop the Immortal all-in if that's what's coming.
This would be really annoying too if you could pick off this Overlord, and there it is. It falls. So that does supply block Sniper a little bit. He's producing 2 more Overlords, but he's going to be supply blocked for a little bit. Warhorn for an Overlord kill. That's a new one.
Why not?
All right, so let's see here. The +1 weapon's not quite done. A battery to finish up for HerO, but it still takes him 3 swipes with the Zealot to be able to take these down. Pretty good micro from HerO, though, I have to say. Keeping so many of those Stalkers alive and taking out a lot of Zerglings. Really well done.
Yeah, that's 7 kills on both of those Stalkers combined. That's 7 Zerglings or 3 drones, if you look at it purely from a larva point of view.
We are already starting a Warp Prism. We're seeing a Warp Prism pop up from Liquid HerO. 2 more gateways on the way. Now 3 more, so a total of 4 gates +1. Sentries could do a pretty significant drop. This is one of those maps where it's pretty good to actually get in there. You have a lot of room with the Warp Prism that you can actually maneuver around the cliff line, and actually drop down sentries out of the Warp Prism, stop any units from running up that ramp and continue to warp in over and over again.
Well, to say something interesting, he actually did cancel the sentry and just continue to make Stalkers. So he has these 4 Stalkers instead of any sentries. So it's not going to be the Immortal Sentry Island that we talked about and hyped up so much. But maybe that's, at the same point, what Sniper thinks is coming. He seems to be making a lot of Lings, a lot of Roaches, even 2 Spine Crawlers to try and be very, very defensive from this point on.
Well, we do have a 6th gate with Twilight Council, though, and that's still a lot of pressure that can be put on by our Protoss player. I see a Pro running down towards the bottom left. Looks like he is going to throw down a Nexus here momentarily as he starts to increase his Immortal count, too.
Yeah, and 4 Stalkers in a dropship. This is like Marines like stim, kill an Overlord, and then lift off really, really quickly. It's cool to see Protoss adopting that tactic as well right here.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, close to free damage that can be done. Looks like those Roaches are eventually going to pick away at this here on the bottom of the ramp, but he gets 2 Overlords. HerO, we of course know, has incredible Warp Prism micro. He's an absolute master at just picking up units inside that are hurt, dropping them down, and getting the most effectiveness. Oh, he needs to pick them up right now, though, and he saves every single one of those at the last second.
Wow, that was pretty close. I bet HerO was, I bet his heart rate went up to that 160 again right there, huh?
Yeah, but he saves them all. He gets the damage done, and he gets out of there. Really nice move from Sniper, though. Looks like HerO was moving over towards his 3rd base, not able to put down a Nexus. There is an Overlord dropping down creep there, and it's at its max range, so that's an additional minute that that Nexus actually can't be put down. Yep,
very nice play, as Sniper was both defending the dropship and planting one of his Overlords in just the correct place.
Well, we just saw another 11 Roaches actually queued up here. Burrow and +1 weapons about to finish up. He could put on a massive amount of pressure.
Yep, here on the other hand, making a bunch of Zealots. Generally, you don't want to make Zealots because there are just a lot of minerals that could be for your expansion, for more gateways, more production, but he's having to make them just to help defend against this amount of Lings and Roaches. And Sniper, go ahead and going for that Forge right off the bat.
Yeah, it's been a while. Oh, great force fields. He's actually going to trap all those Roaches in, but he's going to leave those forces exposed off to the left-hand side. Sends a few over to deal with that. Looks like the Forge is going to fall. The 4+2 weapons can actually be finished up, but it comes at the cost of every one of those Roaches. More force fields off to the side, trapping yet more Roaches. He does kill quite a few units. He's retained all of his valuable Immortals thus far, but there's still a lot of units coming down to bear from Sniper right now up this ramp. But that's a really great spot for HerO to position his units.
Yeah, very nice micro from HerO.
And it looks like the Warp Prism inside of the main was still doing damage. HerO, of course, a little more concentrated on what was happening outside of his own main. Oh, it looks like those units were actually stopped for a second, so they were baited back into the range of all the forces from our Protoss player, who is dropping down yet more force fields. He will sacrifice a couple of units up at the front. One Immortal falls. The second may actually take some considerable damage. No, it looks like the Roaches, of course, going after a couple of sentries there.
Yep, but they're not going to escape. Roaches, they have burrow, so they could burrow here. But these Stalkers are going to chase them all the way back as far as they can go.
Very nice. So HerO takes control of his map once again, and because Sniper decided to go for the strong roach push, his other tech is critically delayed. Infestation Pit just finishing right now. +1 Carapace nowhere close to being done. And Aspire actually jumping up after this right away, which may mean he wants to go into Tier 3 tech as quick as is possible, but that's still going to be very difficult for him to pull off.
Yeah, he's just now getting the 2 guys in his main. Can you believe that? Just now getting Vespene guys from his main base. And HerO trying to get this third up all he can. And Sniper's going to trade a bunch of units for it. He's going to get it canceled again.
He does get the cancel, but he's going to lose a lot of units on the way out. I mean, several hundred resources worth of units. And is the delay on that third base worth it?
Yes and no, right? It's useful because it's going to stop gas, but it's not that useful because he didn't have his own gas up for that long. It's only now that he's throwing it down. It's definitely an equivalent sort of thing. It's not putting him farther ahead, though.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so more something that he kind of almost had to do than anything else. But let's see here now what Sniper plans to do from here on out. He's just sitting on 3 bases, finally going up to a 4th hatchery. His Spire is almost done, so we can start at least some Corruptor production. But once again, HerO has pretty firm control of his side of the map, and once he gets that 3rd base established, his production is going to be kicked into high gear. He's going to have multiple Colossi out there, and he's going to have a pretty stout Zerg killing force.
For sure. And if you look too in the main, there's a Forge there that's spinning, getting ground levels too. Now if the Zerg runs up the ramp, snipes the Forge, it's only going to get the armor upgrade instead of the +2 attack. HerO's going to get it finished one way or the other.
And you got to feel for those Zealots, like, because they run up at the last second of Changelings, like, are you actually a Zealot? I don't know, am I killing my own brethren here?
They just tap them once to test, and then, you know, the Changelings don't do the handshake that's secret, and then they just die.
That's why you have Zealot Therapy back on Iron, to make sure that they're okay with killing their own guys. But, all right, so, well, this 4th base is taking some pressure here, but HerO only needs to pick up these Zealots in a second. But he puts on pressure, he keeps his opponent's forces back. Sniper's trying to take a lot of risks right here, appropriate risks, I think. He's actually going for Mutas, though, which is kind of an interesting switch. He's going to have 12 of those in just a second, and there is still a lot of Blink Stalkers. There still are a lot of Blink Stalkers out on the map for HerO. But these Mutas could certainly serve to keep HerO pinned back on his 3 bases for quite a while.
Yep, they have that potential. HerO is moving out. This is going to be kind of that moment where HerO has to decide, do I go for it, or do I go back to save my main?
All right, so these Mutas may have been a great calculated risk, and it looks like he is going to continue going forward for now. He'll need to warp in some units from behind, because if this attack doesn't work, all of a sudden his economy is going to be devastated if these Mutas are allowed to just run free.
Yep, HerO decides, okay, let's go for it. And at the same time, Sniper's, okay, let's base race. Let's go ahead and go for it. I have a bunch of Mutas. I have a bunch of Zerglings. I think I can go ahead and kill you before you can kill me.
And I think that's a pretty good move out of Sniper, too, because in a straight-up engagement, I don't think he would have done all that well. So now he's putting on pressure from behind. He's already killed a lot of workers. We can see 53 workers to 69 at the moment. 3rd base is under a lot of pressure. The Muta's actually doing a lot of damage inside of the main. At the same time, HerO has already killed the 4th of Sniper and is working his way in with his War Prism.
Yeah, but the Colossus, all 3 Colossus had to go back to deal with this Zergling Muta pressure. That's what he wanted. That's what Sniper wanted. He didn't care too much if he lost the 4th. He already has another 4th all the way up on the left side of the map. So in this case, Sniper getting the Nexus there too, just what he wanted to do with this sort of attack. HerO gonna have to make the decision to just try and kill the Zerg fairly soon.
And there's no Templar archives down, so it's not like he can dump all of his excess gas into 4 Templar right now, so that's all going to be delayed. He's down on quite little workers now. In fact, worker supply 70 to 38, as you just saw there, so on almost half the workers that Sniper has.
Yep, HerO wants to reinforce, but from here he knows whatever he reinforces with is going to be less than what the Zerg reinforces with. That's why this moment where he just has to go for it is going to happen, and I'm wondering if Sniper is ready for a counter. He doesn't have the Lings properly positioned to really run around, and HerO doing actually an amazing job to prevent him from being able to just run around.
Oh, I thought he had picked up on those Mutas on the right-hand side. He was shifting those Blink Stalkers over there, and if he could have intercepted those at least a little bit, he would have done some damage. But now, once again, he pulls all of his forces back. HerO is retreating back home to make sure not additional damage is done, and this Nexus is likely to fall.
Yeah, that many Mutas. They don't have any upgrades, but still, that many Mutas, they're going to get this Nexus. And they're still just forcing HerO back. And if you look at it, Sniper has a lot of Zerglings. He has not that many spines, only 6 spine crawlers. So Sniper is just playing a little bit like, I think you're going to come and deal with these mutas.
And he did, but he wasn't able to kill, I don't think, a single one of those. A lot of Zerglings just kind of running into an apocalyptic fire there for a second.
Yeah, that was what HerO needed.
Yeah, they had no chance against those Colossi. So he has limited the forces of his opponent. There's 18 mutas, 15 Zerglings. That's it on the map for Sniper. So if he can force some sort of an engagement, he will absolutely win that.
Yep. For sure, he just has to be able to force it, and Sniper, on the other hand, has to try and delay it as long as he possibly can.
So HerO has actually kept all of his Blink Stalkers back at home, but he's running the rest of his forces up to the front. No, he's pulling them back once again. He's not trying to reestablish any nexuses yet, and he needs to probably think about one of those pretty soon. Blink Stalkers, actually, nice job, Force Field, saving 3 of those for the time being.
Yeah, HerO has 1 base, though, to Sniper's 3, potentially 4 soon. HerO's going to have to move out somehow, but the question is, how does he defend from these mutas that are going to be constantly harassing, denying the warp gates from even working? He has to figure out a way to do that, and right now he just doesn't have a great answer to it.
Well, the mutas bounce away once again. Sniper's reestablished his 4th base off to the right-hand side. It's purely Zerglings, purely mutas being produced right now. And mutas, of course, not that great of a force of just killing you outright. It's kind of a slow death. It's very painful, and the mutas are actually going to run smack dab into a lot of forces from HerO, so they're going to have to get away here a second. But the muta numbers are actually getting strong enough now that they can start to engage pretty decent groups of Stalkers. Just heads up.
26 mutas with +1 upgrade, yes. that will kill just about anything on a per space area, right? If these mutas all stacked together, they can one-shot just about anything, and you know, it's very difficult for everything else behind it.
And here he goes. He is going to push into just a little bit there. Picks off a couple of Stalkers, loses a couple of mutas in return, but HerO is gunning it for this base here in the top right-hand corner. He's going to try and take that out. Once again, a lot of Zerglings are being sent in, and Banelings from the side as well. I'm not sure where those are at. Looks like they're going to just head towards the front here, but this 4th base is likely to fall once again. Oh, but he's not doing the last bit of damage. It looks like he's trying to save all of his units out in the middle of the map. Does he have enough to actually engage us? Great force fields. He actually stops all of the Banelings. More Banelings rolling in from around the side, too. The Colossi are actually picking those off one by one. Now, the Colossi are all going to fall, but can he kill enough mutas to actually make this worth it? Looks like he actually does retain one of those Colossi. The rest of the Blink Stalkers are still alive, but he's still not taking out that 4th base quite yet.
That one Colossus has 44 kills. It's an Executor. Wow, just sick micro.
That's awesome. You sometimes see stuff like that when you have lots of Broodlords and Colossus just kind of sitting at the back and working at them, but not like this. All right, so Templar Archives are finished. There was a glut of gas that was available for HerO, so he is going to morph in a few Archons, or so it appears. Obviously not going to go after the Storm quite yet, but we'll see what he ends up doing from here. He's finally started to whittle down that army a bit, but mutas are still being annoying. Again and again and again, they're picking off production structures one by one, and Sniper continues his creep set through the middle of the map. He's going back up to his 5th base. He did lose his 4th once again, and HerO is being pulled in so many directions.
Yeah, and at this point, the mutas are almost reaching that critical mass, like you said, where they can fight the Stalkers. They tried to fight them, they weren't just quite there in the last engagements. They had to run away. He still kept the 4th, though. That's going to be a whole bunch of extra gas money. He's moved the spines to defend it. He's even getting a 5th up here and sending some drones over there. HerO, again, being forced to do something, but not able to because these mutas keep coming in from the side.
Oh, that was a pretty good one. He actually jumps on top, grabs 3, not quite 4 mutas, but that's going to be plenty enough for him to help stem the tide once again. And again, we talk about wild cards in a lot of games. Archons are now a little bit of a wild card, too. If those mutas even clump up a little bit and the Archons get underneath, well, they're dead almost immediately. So if HerO can find a decent engagement there, he certainly still has a lot of potential, and Sniper is actually going to swing down, and HerO knows that this is coming.
Yep, and an interesting thing was all those Banelings that were killed. May not seem like that big of a deal, but that's a whole bunch of mutas that are gone from this engagement. And maybe the mutas could have just outright killed these Stalkers. The Stalkers are only 2-1 upgrade-wise, and the mutas are 2-0 already, which is not really the difference we generally see in upgrades here. Those mutas coming right back in, the Stalkers pushing them right back out.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you were talking about. So Banelings are 25 gas apiece. 4 Banelings equals a Mutalisk. He threw away about 26 Banelings there. Let's call it 28. That's 7 mutas that could have been in the air.
Yep.
All right. Well, for now, though, HerO does have, he's decently fortified on his base, but every time he tries to jump out, this is the power of Mutalisk. They just swing back in, they do more damage, and they force him back.
Yep. But now Sniper does have his bases up, mining tremendous amount. There's only 45 probes to 72 drones, and that's been the same. Right when he moves those, oh wow, nice blink in there by the Stalkers, picking off a lot of mutas. Mutas deciding to fight here and engage for a while because that health always regen. Stalkers that are dead will not come back.
No,
to life
but
in this.
a lot of mutas still did fall there, and the supply gap has narrowed to 30. HerO did have the advantage for a while, but after these muta attacks started, it got a lot more difficult. Oh, and the Banelings are going to roll in from the side. Does he have the force field control once again? Doesn't look like he needs it. The Banelings just sharking there for a second, then they jump away while the mutas join the fight. Banelings are coming back right now again. 2 get picked off, or just maybe 1 there, but still not able to get in and do any damage.
Yeah. It's a really, really close game. These mutas just keep running around, keep dragging HerO to all corners of the map, and HerO just needs to find a way out of this, but it's so hard because of these mutas. Sniper playing it absolutely amazing, having spines there at the base over there waiting for him whenever he moves out, and these mutas just keeping those stalkers back home.
He's back up to 28 mutas again. It's just against 20 Blink Stalkers. When it was at 26 just a second ago before the last big engagement, there were an equal number of Stalkers. They're still close. They're still close to parity, but man, just these muta games, they stretch out so long. It's just this chess battle that goes back and forth as you just wait for one player to commit. As soon as HerO decides to commit, you can guarantee that those mutas will be right back in and making sure that he can't produce anything else after this. So
I feel like we've said a few of these things before in this cast.
Yeah. Oh, but he's going to get right underneath the Archons. The Archons could actually dish out a little bit of splash damage. Are all of the Blink Stalkers up in the front? No, they are not. The Archons actually went down very quickly. The Force Fields were good. Once again, though, they picked off a lot of Banelings. Oh, now the Banelings coming in against the Blink Stalkers, but they don't actually kill any of them. They all stayed up, even with just a few hit points.
Yeah, the Colossus are still around, which is going to make the Zerglings really, really ineffective, or Banelings, or even Spinecrawlers that much more ineffective, which was really nice. And the Stalkers, they seem to be going back. They seem to be expecting a counter back, but the mutas are still at the front, and the Lings need to be dealt with the Colossus.
Oh, if the Colossi stay up at the front, they're actually going to be attacked by the Mutalisks, and the Blink Stalkers are out of position. One Colossus falls very quickly, but now the Blink Stalkers are there. Are they in enough numbers that they're able to start taking out these Mutalisks? The Mutalisk numbers are really high, 31, but now falling slowly but surely. The Colossi are getting picked off too. Reinforcements from Stalkers coming at the back, but it looks like the war is eventually being won by Sniper, who has amazing transfusions on top of this. He brings all of his queens forward. There's GG. Liquid HerO is knocked out of the tournament. Sniper moves on to the round of 8.
Very nice play. Nice idea to bring the queens there at the end, and just HerO not quite having enough units to prevent the swarm from moving on.
Fantastic play right at the end there in HerO. Unfortunately knocked out, but he's still got to be happy with his performance at this tournament. He made it a long way. He's had a couple very good weeks in StarCraft 2.
Yep, and I'm very happy with him. He's done very, very well. Beautiful games. I think all of Liquid is very proud of HerO.
All right, well, Sniper, top 8 here in IPL5, finalist at GSL Code S. This guy is set up to have an amazing weekend.
Best weekend ever for him, huh?
No kidding. If he would win both tournaments, I think he'd win something like $87,000 in prizes. It's a pretty darn good weekend of StarCraft 2.
Not bad.
All right, guys. So that's it for that game. We want to encourage everyone, like I said,